city making, and all that goes into it. Today, I, Bhavya, Saksham, Kanishka, and Jivika, we all are going to present on the topic city making.
What is city making? City making is a process of creating and planning inclusive, safe, sustainable, and resilient cities. It brings together different sectors like public, private, and social who work together with the goal of making the city friendly and accessible to all. City planning is one of the most striking demonstrations of our minds at work and the imaginative use of existing assets to create a city that is not just efficient but also greater than life. In urban cities, there is an economic, geological, and social realm with numerous unique features to be incorporated while designing the city's structures. City making projects. An example of a well planned city would be a city like Chandigarh. It has been carefully designed ever since it came into existence, unlike other cities which grow over time. A well planned city is generally modeled on a pattern, generally based on geometric shapes. The simplest type of plan is to make a crisscrossed road pattern cutting each other at right angles. What a well planned city consists of: efficient transport facilities, good healthcare, schools and job opportunities, clean water and uninterrupted electricity, proper sanitation and waste dumping grounds, parks and open spaces for recreation, high quality of life at a reduced living cost.
Now let's talk about problems faced during city making. Environmental threats such as violent weather, floods, earthquakes, and other natural calamities. Resource distribution. Proper distribution of resources throughout the city is very important to ensure equal living standard in all parts of the city. Evolving technology. The technologies we use today in our cities may be obsolete in the next decades or two. Hence, we need to plan a future proof city. Next, environmentally friendly. Cities have to be made in a way that they are not harsh on the environment, making enough bike paths, clean energy sources, etc. And the last one, public safety. City has to ensure proper law and enforcement to keep crime levels low and protect its citizens. So now comes problems generated after city making. Once a city is made, there is a population inflow from rural areas in search of jobs and employment. This rapidly growing population in cities is the root cause of the urban problems. A city originally built for a set number of people has to now accommodate a significantly larger crowds. This creates the problems of overcrowding, forcing many people to live in tiny spaces. This overcrowding of people in cities lead to the shortage of houses and the prices of real estate skyrockets. The shortage of the house is tackled by people being forced to live in slums and squatter settlements. Example of such problems can be seen in big cities of India like Mumbai.
Mayanagri, Mumbai. The condition of Mumbai in terms of city planning is not really hidden. So let's take a deep dive into the not so well planned city and its slum areas. Mumbai, the second most populated city in India and the eighth most populated in the world, was formerly known as Bombay, and it is the financial hub of India.
Modernization of Mumbai. Mumbai is the commercial capital of India and has evolved into a global financial hub. For several decades, it has been the home of India's main financial services and a main focus for infrastructure development. But these infrastructure advancements come with a dark side. To look more appealing as a metropolitan city, Mumbai has been going through an infrastructural boom. Construction of expressways, roads, flyovers, and metros are helping in shortening Mumbai's commute times while ensuring world class facilities. It will also have a big impact on Mumbai's real estate values, which are already skyrocketing. Many of the city's ongoing projects will begin to be completed by the end of 2022. The Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link, Navi Mumbai International Airport, Mumbai Coastal Road, Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor, Mumbai Ahmedabad High Speed Rail, and the planned underground tunnel between Borivali and Thane are among the major infrastructure projects.
This urbanization has resulted in further segregation among the citizens. There are people living in well serviced and gated settlements, while the majority of poor are being driven out of the core parts of the city to its peripheries. These people are forced to live in slums under inhuman living conditions. These slums are mostly on illegally acquired property. Hence, these people have no control if the government decides to destroy these to build the city's next big project. These areas often have poor living conditions with houses built out of scrap metal, wood, and other materials. These areas are also generally overcrowded and noisy. Slums are generally very tight and congested, and people forced to live in these areas have no choice but to squeeze into these tight spaces. No proper sanitation can be seen. Industrial waste being dumped near these areas make the people living here more likely to fall ill. Living in such tight spaces make them more prone to widespread of many illnesses. There is not enough water for the people and they often have to struggle in order to get clean water to drink and cook. These slum areas also don't get electricity, while the entire city enjoys full day supply of electricity.
The story of Dharavi, Mumbai. Dharavi is a locality in Mumbai which is considered to be Asia's largest slums. The land on which Dharavi is built is owned by the government while the houses are maintained by the individuals. Dharavi was founded in 1884 because of the expulsion of factories and the residents from the city core by the colonial government. Coming from the city, Dharavi is the complete opposite. Instead of high-rise buildings, it is filled with thousands of makeshift houses. Dharavi is believed to house over 1 million people within just 535 acres of land. Within 2.1 square kilometers, there are over 57,000 shanties, huts, and small flats, and almost all of them are illegal and can be taken down by the government at any time. People of Dharavi often tell how they are treated differently just because they come from a slum area. Dharavi has been hit by numerous epidemics and natural disasters, including a widespread plague in 1896 that killed more than half of Bombay's population. Slum sanitation remains deplorable. Population and diseases are common from open sewers. Each day, an average of 4,000 cases of typhoid and diphtheria are reported. Besides all this, there is a strong community spirit and pride among the citizens of Dharavi.
This is Mumbai, the wealthiest city in India, which has the highest number of millionaires and billionaires in the country. However, Mumbai is also home to Dharavi, one of the largest slums in Asia and one of the most densely populated areas in the world.
What kind of stereotypes are there of people living in the slums?
If I meet or see a person who's coming from a slum area, my first thought process would be this guy is not going to be well dressed, not well groomed. His language is not going to be organized. It's going to be full of slangs. Because of these stereotypes, obviously getting a job or getting an admission to colleges is going to be very difficult for them because people have a preconceived notion that they are not the right people to employ.
Isolation is a big thing, I feel. They get really isolated at times and we isolate them. That's the main thing that we shouldn't do. Yeah, there might be like a lot of differences between us and them, but they're human beings in the end, right?
बेसिकली इंडियन सोसाइटी को लाइक परसेप्शंस ये है कि लाइक कि वो बहुत मतलब गंदे तरीके से रहते हैं लाइक कि दे आर कपड़ा धो या नहीं धो एक ही कपड़ा 3 दिन पहनना सम ऑफ पीपल लाइक कि डिफरेंस देखते हैं कि लाइक ही इज लाइक स्लम्स एरिया से सो वी कांट टॉक विद ईच अदर बिकॉज इफ आई टॉक विद यू विद दिस दैट गाय आई डोंट थिंक सो वो मेरा कुछ चुरा लेगा
Where they sleep? Where do they sleep?
आप कहाँ सोते हैं वो पूछ रहे हैं?
ऊपर सोते हैं. Oh, wait, in my head. Be careful.
कितने लोग यहाँ सो जाते हैं?
3 बच्चे सोते हैं और बड़े 2 जन.
ऐसे ही सोते हो कि कुछ
ऐसे ही
इधर सोता है. इधर 2 जन सोते हैं, इधर 3 जन.
ओके. लीकेज आप कैसे संभालते हो? लीक होता है पानी से?
वो रखते वाटी रखते हैं, रात भर सोते नहीं है.
How much do they earn per day?
वो ऐसा कितना भी करेंगे तो पगार ही देते, ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
She says how much ever she works, she will get a fixed income anyway, which is like say 6,000 rupees per month. Yeah, so it's somebody else's business. She just does it.
Do they have access to clean water?
पानी का कैसा होता है यहाँ?
4 दिन नहीं मिलता है, ऐसा इधर उधर से लेके आते हैं हम लोग.
कहाँ से मिलता है ये पानी आपको?
इधर से भी लेके आते हैं, गली गली से जाके अंडा से.
The water clean that I get there?
हाँ. कभी
साफ?
गंदा आता है, कभी साफ आता है सब।
आप उसे उबाल के पीते हैं?
नहीं, ऐसे ही।
Do you get any diseases from the dirty water?
वो बोल रहे हैं कि ये जो आप पानी पीते हैं वो कभी कभी गंदा भी होता है।
हाँ।
तो उससे आपको डर नहीं लगता कि कोई बीमारी हो जाएगी?
गंदा नहीं पीते, देख के नहीं हम लोग पानी में सफा।
So they got rid of the slums and they put
पहला पूरा स्लम था, उसके बाद स्लम क्लियरेशन करके आए थे, गवर्नमेंट उधर बिल्डिंग बना दिया अपार्टमेंट्स। अभी स्लम वाले प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं कि हम लोग को अपार्टमेंट नहीं चाहिए, हम लोग इसमें खुश है क्योंकि ये सोसाइटी जैसा, लोकेलिटी जैसा।
How were you treated like people outside of the slums?
तो पहले इधर ही पैदा हुआ था, तभी तो मैं बचपन में था, तभी स्कूल में ले लेते, पैसा ही उधर बात करता है, पैसा देगा तो किसको भी अलाउड कर देते। फिर उन लोगों को पता चलता है तो धारावी का है, उधर का स्टूडेंट्स लोग बोलेंगे तुम लोग चोर हो, तुम लोग अनएजुकेटेड हो, तुम लोग ऐसा हो ऐसा हो, सब बोलेंगे।
मैं कभी प्रिंसिपल से मैं कुछ मस्ती करके फंस गया तो वो बोलता धारावी का गुंडा,
like that on the
coming here and disturbing the schools.
They'll think very cheap about us.
Cheap and we are worst.
We are unhygienic
Because
and
we
all
came
this.
from Dharavi. If in interview time, while resume we will give to company no. If Dharavi name is mentioned, they are seeing us poor.
मैं स्कूल टाइम में 5th स्टैंडर्ड तक कैलेंडर में भी लिखता था आई स्टे इन साइन करके।
You might have heard of Vision Mumbai, the government's plan to improve Dharavi. The government has planned to replace all the squatter settlement housings with high-rise apartment complexes. The Indian government also wants to add some basic amenities such as schools, hospitals, shops, better roads and jobs. Many residents favor these local and small-scale improvements. To begin with, the plan was ambitious. 600 acres of Dharavi would be redeveloped. The slum was divided into 5 sectors and tenders would be issued for all of them at the same time. In 2007, the state established the Dharavi Redevelopment Authority (DRA) and issued global tenders. But these plans are yet to be executed, and such is so because of the massive amount of money required to act upon this.
A middle class dream or an urban poor nightmare? The main objective behind city making is to improve the quality of life for the people living in it. Making better housing and beautifying cities certainly do favor the middle class and the upper middle class who can afford such amenities. Making of malls, parks, industries, roads and other infrastructure favor the middle class people by providing them comfort, ease of travelling and opportunities to generate more income. While it may be great for middle class, it is an absolute nightmare for the urban poor population. Oftentimes, all these projects are made on government land, which is preoccupied by people who cannot afford proper housing. These people are then pushed off to the outskirts of the city to survive on their own and have to live in utter misery. Even if these people are not evicted, they are often not benefited by these malls, roads or the new housings built because of their financial situation. Hence, city making is generally in favor of middle class dreams and has turned out to be a nightmare for the urban poor population. Although the government of India has recognized this problem and taken some steps to eradicate it, it still prevails.
Now let's take a look at the much awaited measures. First comes prioritizing incremental improvements on site. To avoid the worst effects of gentrification and urban expansion, cities should invest in incremental improvement projects, whether those include basic infrastructure like paved roads or piped water, or resources for families to upgrade their homes themselves, instead of steamrollering informal settlements and reconstructing them wholesale. Next is giving disadvantaged populations a voice. Informal residents, squatters, migrants, people with disabilities, and women, among others, should be front and center in policy making processes so that the new policies for housing and urban services actually meet the needs of the most vulnerable. Third is collaboration with non-governmental organizations and academic institutions. Symbiotic relationships between different urban actors can fill knowledge gaps, facilitate innovation, and build up capacity for positive change. Next comes enhancing transportation networks. Cities should improve their transportation networks to ensure access for low-income communities. Building complete streets that work for all users, not just cars, focusing resources on integrated, user-oriented public transport, and managing demand for private vehicles can help ensure vulnerable residents equitable access to opportunities. And the last one is keeping inhabitants from being displaced and enhancing access to services. Cities should limit high-end development that displaces low-income residents to the periphery of the city, far from essential services, ensuring reliable and affordable access to energy, water, and sanitation infrastructure, and connecting these communities to the broader citywide network of jobs and services can actually help transform cities so that they work for all residents. This also helps those who work at home operate safely and productively, supporting the larger urban economy.
Thank you for watching, and here are the links to the articles we used to gain information for this video.